Mungu ibariki Tanzania, dumisha uhuru na umoja wake kwa waume na watoto. Mungu ibariki Tanzania na watu wake. Ibariki Tanzania, ibariki Tanzania, tubariki watoto wa Tanzania.
Okay, so for that case, we'd like to say that from this formula that actually that we say that electromotive force is equal to the current times what resistance. This electromotive force means we call it potential difference. This is equal to what? PDF. Okay, so PDF. So it means potential difference, which is voltage, is equal to current times what? Resistance. If an electric network consists of so many resistors and so many cells, for example, that's why that we can say that electromotive force, total electromotive force, or this algebraic sum of electromotive force is equal to the summation from I is equal to 1 to I is equal to, let's say that, to I is equal to what? Let's say is equal to N. And then here we have current, and we have the subscript of I times resistance, the subscript of 40 of I. So this is very important. You can say that the total electromotive force, or the algebraic sum of electromotive force, is equal to sigma notation. Say sigma notation. I is equal to 1 to N, and then here we have what? Current I times resistance what? I. This way. So this is a very important formula, or it's a formula that we use in dealing with Kirchoff's voltage law. What does it mean? Listen. For example, if you have a complex circuit with 4 resistors connected in series, for instance. So you say that in total it will be equal to what? So you have 4 resistors. So we start with what? So it means that, for example, for the 4 resistors, this is sigma notation. I from 1 to what? To 4. Are we together? So and hence we have what? Current subscript of I, resistance I. So how can we get this total potential difference, right? The total potential difference, we substitute when I is equal to 1, we get current 1 times what? Resistance 1. Okay? Plus what? When I is equal to 2, we get current 2 times what? Resistance 2. When I is equal to 3, we get what? Current 3, then times what? Resistance 3. When I is equal to 4, we get what? Current 4, then what? Resistance 4. Are we together? That's the meaning of what? Of this formula. Because a complex circuit it can consist a number of resistors and a number of dry cells, so a number of batteries. Are we together? So we need this formula of summations because we know that we have in the network we have at least 2 resistors or maybe at least 2 dry cells. Okay, that's all about Kirchoff's voltage law. So we say, or I say, because remember that how does the law state? Kirchoff's second voltage law states that in any closed electrical circuit, very important sentence, in any closed electrical circuit, the algebraic sum of all electromotive force, EMF, this is all about the driving force inside the cell, and the voltage drop, we mean the potential difference, in resistors is equal to 0. Are we together? So what does it mean? So for instance, okay, let me just show you these meanings of the closed circuit. So, for example, we want to deal with with the circuit we had in the previous case. So we have 2 dry cells, and here we have another resistor, and here we have another dry cell of this connection. So for this case, say that we have resistor here, and then we say what? Say okay. So you can have again, we have a connection here, and here we can have another resistor, which is what? Let's say R1, this is R2, this is R3, this is R4, this is E1, this is E2. Listen carefully. And then support that, here we have again another resistor. Okay? And then you have a connections like this. To draw it correctly, my lines are not straight. Here you have what? R5. So we have A, you can label A, B, C, D, E. Remember that for the complex circuit to be E, F, for the complex circuit to be complete, we need to have what? We need to have at least two junctions. So this is the complex circuit, right? Why? Because you have the first junction and this is the second junction. So stop writing. So in order to solve or to find currents in particular resistor or to find voltage drops in this particular resistor, because this is a complex circuit, we should apply Kirchoff's current law and Kirchoff's voltage law. Are we together? Yes. I told you that because the circuit is complex, you are the one who have to choose the directions of what? Of supply current or total current. You are the one. So you have different alternatives. For instance, you can say that, okay, so I prefer this to be a total current. Stop writing, look on the blackboard. This is total current. So here, the current flowing through R1 is still total current. So when it reaches at this point, you find what? A junction. Okay? So this is still what? This is still I. So at this junction, there are the divisions of current. So suppose that the current flowing through this network is what? Is I1. And the current flowing through here is what? It's I2. Are we together? So this I1 will come up, means will flow through this way. Okay, but this one, okay, so I think that here again, we can have another dry cell, such as like this. Should have a cell here. So here we still have what? I1. So I1 will pass through what? R4. Are we together? And then at this point B, I1 sum up with I2 to form what? I total. So you have only three currents. Total current and branches what? Branched what? Currents. I say stop writing, stop drawing. Listen first. If you understand, you find that everything is simple. I'm teaching you complex circuits. Don't think that you'll understand them as quickly as well as you can. You have to concentrate. Okay? So, if we apply Kirchoff's current law, which I told you, right, for this network, then we say what? How many currents do you have? Say. So you may consider either this junction or this junction. Right? We have only two junctions, right? So which junction will you prefer? B, junction B, junction A? B. So at junction B here, we have what? The currents flowing towards the junction, and this one I1 flowing towards the junction, and I total is leaving the junction. Then remember that Kirchoff's current law state that what? It states that the algebraic sum of what? Of currents at the junctions is equal to what? 0. Okay? Or the algebraic sum of the currents flowing toward the junction is equal to the algebraic sum of the currents leaving the junction. Okay? So we can use that to make the second sentence. The algebraic sum of what? Of currents flowing toward the junction. Which currents flowing to junction B? Which currents? I2 and I1. And I1. So I2 is flowing towards the junction B, and I1 is flowing towards what? Junction B, right? So it means that the algebraic sum will be I1 plus what? I2. Are we together? Yes. So according to Kirchoff's first current law, then this the algebraic sum of the currents flowing toward the junction should be equal to the algebraic sum of the currents leaving the junction. Okay? Yes. So what the currents leaving, so this should be equal to what the currents leaving the junction? I. So this is what we call the Kirchoff's current law equation. Very important equation. And this talks about what? Only current. There's no potential, there's no voltage, there's no electromotive force here. Are we together? Okay. So now if we consider Kirchoff's voltage law for this case, we should choose a closed loop, because the Kirchoff voltage law asks you to have a closed circuit. In a closed circuit, the total electromotive force is the algebraic sum of electromotive force is equal to the algebraic sum of 40 of potential difference. In a closed loop, say closed loop, or closed circuit. Say closed circuit. What means of closed circuit? Listen, I can say that I would like to start a closing circuit. Stop writing, stop drawing. This is my point, my starting point. I want it to form, because here I have almost 4 closed circuits or closed loop, right? Say loop. Loop. We use closed loop or closed circuit. We have open loop and closed loop. So when you say open loop, for instance, just to give you the big picture, when you say, for example, open loop, if here we have a sub like this one, and then here we have a resistor, then we have this connection, we have this point. For example, here we have a switch which is not turned on. This is open circuit. Are we together? Yeah. This is open circuit. There is no flow of current. But if we close this switch here, it's turned from open circuit into closed circuit or closed loop. Are we together? Yeah. That's the difference between open circuit and closed loop. But in case now of the complex circuit, this is my starting point. I can say, okay, my first closed loop will be this one, from here to here to here to here to here to here, and then the current coming or flowing up this point. That is my first closed loop. So my first closed loop for this case will be what? E, F, C, what? B, E. Okay? Yes. That is one of the closed loop. I can also form, I'm at this point, I can also form another closed loop. How can I form? I can say that currents can flow from here to here, then flowing toward this point T, towards this point T, up to here. You are chatting. Excellent. Okay, so that's another closed loop. So it is called the closed loop. What? E, B, A, D, E. That's another closed loop. Right? Yeah. Again, I can form another closed loop. Another closed loop, I can say, okay, E, F, C, B, A, D, E. Because in Kirchoff, what are we going to deal is just the choice of the closed loop or closed circuit. Are we together? But remember that if I say that I choose this one, E, B, C, F, E, I have chosen it. So if I choose in this way, E, F, C, B, F, E, it's the same if I say E, B, C, F, E. When you say about closed circuit, we are talking about this guy, either in this direction, there's a current flow in this direction or in the opposite direction. It's not a matter of arrangements of letters. Are we together? Yes, sir. Let me repeat it. I'm saying this one. For example, somebody can say there's another loop. From what? E, B, C, F, E. This loop and this loop is the same. Why? Because when you talk about a loop, it's just a complete circuit. We don't consider loop because of the arrangements of letters. But because here, then the second letter is B, while here it is maybe no. We form a loop according to what we have in the network. Are we together? So simply here we have what? So this one, this is the same loop. We have chosen that loop. Okay, so we have F, E, F, C, what? B, E, F. And then we have another one. We say E, B, A, D, E. Right? E, B, A, D, E. So we have only 3 closed loops. And in these closed loops, that's why you see something arrows like this one. This arrow indicates that this is the directions of flow of current. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Are we together? Francis? Oh? Don't worry about this. I've prepared a number of examples. I think that more than 6 examples that will teach you these concepts of Kirchoff and you'll master it. Don't worry about that. Just don't miss the next session. Are we together? Because from now, you start thinking that really these circuits are complex. Because you're very expert in Ohm's law. Voltage is equal to current and resistor. Okay. So if that's the case for the Kirchoff voltage law, you have to choose a closed circuit. Okay? So for example, if you want to write the equation for the Kirchoff voltage law for the loop which is E, F, C, B, E. E, F, C, B, E. Have you seen that loop? Eh? I want to write what? Kirchoff voltage law equation. So I started from here. Do I have any dry cell? No. So I don't have electromotive force between E and F. Okay? Do I have any dry cell here? No. Do I have any dry cell between this and this? Yes. It's called what? E2. So I start here to write E2. The next equation. Is the flow of current the same to the electromotive force? Yeah, because this is positive and this is the directions of current.
Yes.
Do we have any cell between B and E? Yes. But when I say that when I chose this loop, it means I'm going opposite directions to the current driven by this cell. Are we together? So what are the names of this cell? It is what? E3. Okay? So because I'm going, it means that direction, my choice of the loop, or the direction of the loop, means I'm proposing that this direction of the current, it's opposite. Because this is positive terminal. The positive terminal is always driving up, it's opposite. So for that case, because I'm going to teach you about steps of solving problems about Kirchoff law. In those steps we mentioned that. So I'm trying to give you a big picture and then analyze. I have 8 steps that I've developed myself for a number of years and really helped me to keep these questions regardless of how difficult it is. And I want to induce you and even I want you to do greater than me. Are you ready? Okay. So, online students, are you ready? You are ready. Thank you. So for this case, you say that we have minus what? E3. This is algebraic sum of electromotive force. In any closed circuit, the algebraic sum of electromotive force. This is the algebraic sum of electromotive force. Do we have any traces? No, we have only 2, E3 and E2. Then we put what the equal sign. The algebraic sum of, in any closed circuit, the algebraic sum of all electromotive force should be equal to what? Algebraic sum of all what? Potential difference. So we are done with electromotive force side. Now we are going to the what? Potential. Potential, or electric potential voltage drop, is a product of what? Of current and the resistance. So here we are. Do you have any resistor between E and F? No. Right?
Yes.
Do we have any, so no potential drop between E and F. Do we have any resistor between F and C? Yes. It's what? Resistor 5. What the names of the current flow is through resistor 5? It's what? I1. So what is potential drop? Potential drop will be I1 times what? R3, R5. This is potential drop. Right? Again, so it's algebraic sum. So this is the first one. Again, we have to check between C and B. Do you have any resistor?
Yes.
Yes. What is its name? Resistance 4. This one. What the current flow here? I1. So it will be plus what? I1 times what? Resistance what? Resistance 4. Are we together?
Yeah.
Algebraically sum. Then we are done between E and B. B and E, do you have any resistor?
No.
No any resistor. So this is my Kirchoff voltage law for the loop EFCBE. If I'm teaching this stuff today, just international students, especially that the Americans or the Europeans, now they are congratulating. Sir, thank you. You have done a great, but African, hey, they say, sir, even myself, I can explain more than so they are jealous. African people, they're always jealous. Okay, So have you understood?
Of course.
So actual, this is the kind of the business we'll be doing throughout. And if you master this, you are far. Because the next step is just solving simultaneous equation. Are we together?
Yes.
So we say the Kirchoff's first current law is or implies conservations of what? Charge. So this one, how about Kirchoff's second voltage law? This one, it will what implies conservations of what? Of energy. So the Kirchoff's second law. The Kirchoff's second law implies second voltage law. Second voltage law, which is Kirchoff's voltage law, implies what? Implies the conservation of what? Conservations of energy. Conservations of what? Electric energy. Conservation of electric energy. You know why? You know why? Because remember that electric energy, we say it is current times time times what? ITV, that's the voltage. So electric energy is equal to current times voltage, then times time. So energy is conserved. Why? Because energy on the left hand side is equal to energy of right hand side. That means of conservation of energy. Are we together? Are we together, my brother? So that's all about what? The Kirchoff's second voltage law. I want to take you into the second part of this session. Okay. So now let me take you into the second part of this session. The first part, I talked about complex circuits. I talked about Kirchoff's laws and his Kirchoff's first current law and Kirchoff's second current law. Right now, I would like to take you humbly into the second part where I want to teach you steps that you have to follow whenever you are solving problems about complex circuits by using Kirchoff's laws. I have been using these steps, 8 steps, and I thank God by His own grace I've been successful in solving this problem. And I want to introduce you, and not even to introduce you, I want to teach you more than how I applied myself. So it's a matter of yourself to go far as God will take you. Are you ready for that? So let us go. So listen to these steps. You have to go and make sure that you revise and keep these steps in your mind, because when you meet in session 17, I'll be solving problems, questions by using these steps. Are we together? Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, here it is. What is steps of what? Steps followed. So you say that in steps to follow. Steps followed. Step followed in solving. Step followed in solving problems of complex circuit. Problems of complex circuit. By using Kirchoff's laws. Kirchoff's laws. Kirchoff's laws. In order to solve different problems of complex circuits, using Kirchoff's laws, then the following, then you have to follow the following steps. How to follow the following steps. So in order to solve different problems of complex circuit by using Kirchoff's laws, then you have to follow the following steps. The first step, if you be given a weighted problem, first step, draw the circuit. If you are given a word complex circuit, then draw the circuit according to a given instruction. This is not only if you have been given a word problem, but even if you have been given a circuit, you have to redraw it and then make your own choices of directions of current. So the first step we ask you in Kirchoff, or in dealing with complex circuit by using the Kirchoff, we ask you to draw the circuits. So if you are given a word complex circuits, then draw the circuit according to the given instruction. The second step. So drawing is mandatory in complex circuits, right? And we will realize it as long as we continue this topic. So the second step, we ask you that to assume the unknown. If you're being given selected circuit which does not have directions, or which does not contain the direction of current, then you have to assume what the unknown current. Assume unknown current in the given circuit. Okay, so unknown currents, so plural. I just forgot S in the word current, so don't change anything. So I say that assume the unknown currents flow in the circuit. So you're allowed to make assumption if the directions and the indications of currents are not given in the question. So in the circuit, so assume the known currents flow in the circuit. Okay? Okay? Flow in the circuit. Let's say as what? As maybe I1, let's say that I2, I3, etc. Then show the direction in the circuit by using arrows. I think that the best way of teaching you these steps if also I include this diagram. Suppose that I have a complex circuit like this. So this is R1, this is R2. And here we have another tracer. This is E1, this is E2. This is R3, this is R4. This is E3. So look about the second step. So suppose they be given a problem like this. Listen. So in this circuit, do we know directions of current? No. Are we given direction of current? No. So you're allowed to assume. What does it mean? Your assumption might be different from my assumption. Assumption of student A might be different from assumption of student B in the case of directions of what? Of current. But the answer will be the same. But again, so for example, if you assume that the directions of total current is this way, so this is R, just as I assumed. It's not true, it might be true or not true. Okay? Then I say that this is a junction. So the divisions of current, I could say that this is I1 and here it's I2. So the steps state that assume the unknown currents, current 1, 2, 3, flow in the circuit as I1, I2, I3, etc. Then show the direction in the circuit by using what? Arrows. Don't only assume, but show direction of currents. Right? Due to these directions of current, because the current is flowing, let's say in this way, right? That's why that we can draw. My students, my local students here are drawing, just drawing. You may draw that the current in this part, on this loop, is circulating from this corner to this way. Okay? Again, if you are this part, so you may also assume there are two alternatives. Either current to flow in this way or either current to flow in this way. Are we together?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is. So the only thing, the main thing, I assume the unknown currents I1, I1, I2, and then next I show the direction. You may choose your own assumptions, should not claim. You can say that, for example, I is flowing from this part to this part. Okay? And then here you say that this is I2, this is I1. It's possible. I may assume also that I suppose that this is I. I flowing to associate the junction. Are we together? Okay. So that is the meaning of the second stage. So this is figure. Figure 16, 20. The set is 10. If you have any question, don't hesitate to ask in the comment section. After choosing and assuming the directions of current, then we have to do the next process. Use the Kirchoff's current law use the current Kirchoff's law, use the Kirchoff's first current current law. Use the Kirchoff's first current law, which you call KCR, to express current to express what? To express currents use the Kirchoff's first current law to express currents in the circuit. So we have to use the Kirchoff's current law to express currents in the circuit. The first step. The first step, we say that label the circuit using A, B, C, D, etc. to get the number of loops. Label the circuit using letter label the circuit using what? Using standard letters A, B, C, E, D, etc. So label the circuit using A, B, C, D, E to get the number of loops. To number the number of loops. To get number of loops. Label the circuit to get the number of 14 of loops. What does it mean? In fact, this one is not labeled. Okay? So I can decide and say, let me label from here. This is A, this is B, this is C. So we have A, B, C, D, E, F. A, B, C, D, E, F. We've already labeled. So from here, we just say that my first loop is from F, E, B, A, F. Okay. Okay, so the fifth state, very interesting. Choose any loop and find choose any loop and find so choose any loop and define all so choose any loop and find all algebraic sum of electromotive force so choose any loop and find all algebraic sum of electromotive force and the potential and potential drop by using KVL and the output equal to 0. So label the circuit, okay, that's choose any loop, you're allowed to choose any loop, and find all algebraic sum of what the electromotive forces, and then send out the potential difference. So we said that choose any loop and we find all algebraic sum of electromotive force and potential difference, and then you have to use what in Kirchoff'S second using KVL, then put it equal. Put it equal to so choose any loop and find all algebraic sum of electromotive force and potential difference using Kirchoff's voltage law and put it equal to what? 0. equal to 0. The sixth step. Write equation write equation write equation write equations for many loops. Write equations for many loops and solve simultaneous equations. So write equations. We have to write equations. We'll be writing equation, number of equation for many loops, for many closed loops, and solve simultaneous equation. Okay, solve simultaneous equation. Okay, so write equations for the many loops and solve simultaneous equation to obtain value of current or motive force and what? Values of current, electromotive force, and potential difference. That is 630. 67. Say write equation. Say write equations.
Write equation.
To write equations is just like how we wrote the first Kirchoff'S law equation. After writing the equations, you get so many loops. You can choose 3 loops. So use 3 loops where 30 will solve what? So and solve simultaneous equation to obtain the value of current, electromotive force, and potential drop. Are we together?
Yes.
So the first, so you have write equations. I will teach you on how you can write equations, and then you have to write equations of many loops as well as you can. The next step, you have to choose some equations among the many equations of the loops, and you have to solve them simultaneously by using scientific calculator. But sometimes you may use the hand, but in most cases we'll be using scientific calculator. So in the next session, make sure you have it. After solving those simultaneous equations, what are we targeting? What is our aim? What are we finding? So in those simultaneous equations, we'll be getting values of currents, or values of electromotive force, or values of what? Potential drop. Are we together?
Yeah.
And then after finding these values, we go back to the questions and check which value we have been asked to find in the questions. Would you like me to repeat? And so on, for your benefit? Yes. However, they are saying no. I know they are saying no. I say, in the 6th step, you have to write equations of different loops. And it depends to the circuit you've been given. Some of the circuits can have 2 loops. Some of them at least 3 loops. But some of them can have 4 loops. Some of them can have 5 loops. Some of them can have 6 loops. So write equations of each loop as well as you can. And then after you've written maybe 3 or 4 equations or 5 equations, then you have to choose related equations and solve them simultaneously. Are we together? Solve them what? Simultaneously. The aim for you to solve them simultaneously, you have to obtain what? Yeah? You have to obtain either current flowing in a particular resistor, or the electromotive force of the certain unknown resistor, or potential difference, voltage across a particular resistor. Are we together? I want to tell you before I present the 2 remaining steps for you. You have to follow that when you have been solving Kirchoff's problems of the complex circuits by using the Kirchoff's laws. I want to tell you that I'll be teaching you more than 6 or 7 questions about Kirchoff's, and I'll be following these steps. So the first step, if it will be given, maybe I will show you that here we've been given a welding problem, or maybe an well prepared water circuit. The first step, you have to draw the circuit. Are we together? Then the second step, I will teach you, you have to assume there are known currents flowing in the circuit, as I1, I2, I3, etc. But sometimes the unknown currents means that the currents are not unknown, they are knowns. There are those circuits. From there, you should not change anything. Are we together? So afterward, we ask you that to show the directions of the directions of current, the directions of this current or unknown currents in the circuit by using what? Arrows. Some of the circuits, the directions of the currents has been shown. So if the direction of the currents has been shown, there's no need for you to choose yours or the other one. Are we together? You see that there are precautions there. And then the third step, we ask you that to use. We told you you can use the Kirchoff's first current law, KCL, to express currents in the circuit. And you know the sum of that. You break some of the currents in. It means that enters the junction. It's got the sum of the electromotive force. Some of the currents leaves the junction. Are we together? Then the first step, we ask you to label the circuit using letter A, B, C, D, E, F. Sometimes you can find you'll be given a circuit which has been labeled. There's no need for you. You have to skip the first step. Why? Because this given circuit is already labeled. Are we together? Maybe it is really labeled PQRS. That should not bother you. But you have to know that when I follow these steps, I will quit it. I will skip it. The first step because the circuit is labeled. And our example circuit here was not labeled. That's why we came back to label. Okay? Are we together?
Yes.
The fifth step, choose any loop and find all algebraic sum of electromotive force and potential difference using what? KVL, and put it equal to 0. You have maybe 3 loops. For example, if you want, you can choose either this loop itself. Then you're being asked to write out the algebraic sum of what? Of EMF, which for this case is E2. Right? Are we together? And potential difference using KVL. So here we have IR1, here we have what? Are we together? Are we together?
Yes.
Are we together?
Yeah.
So the sixth step, we ask you to write equation for many loops and solve simultaneous equation to obtain value of current or electromotive force and potential what? Potential drop. Sometimes you can be asked to find the heat dissipated. So if you have currents and resistance, then you can find it dissipated. So it should not be fixed that these are the only 3 variables that you have to find. Sometimes once you find I, you have to use it to find the required parameter. Are we together? Is there any question about these systems? Okay. So physical students are saying, no sir. Let's continue. The 7 steps. If the wrong sense is selected for I and voltage, will be shown by the negative side. If the wrong sense is selected for I and V, will be shown by negative sign. If wrong sense is selected for I, for currents and what? And D and voltage. Then, so you say then, so you say that will be shown. And then, say that again. So then, I and the V will be shown by negative sign. Listen, what does this mean? For example, here I chose my loop is from F, A, B, E, F. Okay, for this loop, I want to apply the 7th step. Let us choose this loop. And we choose the loop that's called the E, B, C, D, E. Okay? Okay?
Yes.
Then I want to write out the Kirchoff's voltage law. So E, yeah, do I have any electromotive? Do I have any tracer here? No. Then between B and C, do I have any tracer? Yes. It is what? It's E1, right? Actually, E1 is driving current towards where? Opposite, right? But my choice of the loop, I'm going opposite directions of the current driven by E1. So for example, for this case, I will say I have negative 40 E1. Then, here I am. This is E3. Actually, E3 is driving current from positive towards negative. This one is driving current this way. But according to my choice, I am going against it in the opposite direction, right? So I have to indicate that it will be E1 minus what? E3. Are we together? Then this is equal to what? Similarly, we have resistor here, yes, I2 times R3. So the direction of current and choice of the loop is the same. So this time this one is positive. When I come to this point, where the direction of current for this case, so you have this one, so the direction of current is what is the same. But here I don't have any resistor. But the direction of current is what is opposite. So remember, what does this? Listen, the second state, if the wrong sense, say wrong sense, is selected for currents and voltage, then currents and voltage will be shown by negative sign. What does it mean? For example, I have point A to point B. Then in this, I have what? I have, let's say, a dry cell, I have a resistor like this. This is R1, this is E1. Listen carefully. I chose a particular loop, just this small sections of this, right? I chose a particular loop. Then my loop, I say that I'll go, so maybe, for example, I chose the directions of current to be this way. This is R, for example. Okay? But my loop, it is A, B, and then I mentioned some other 3 letters, some other 2 letters. Okay? So if it is A, B, A, and then I count. So A is this, next is B, right? How about this dry cell? Dry cell is driving current in the opposite direction. But my direction of the loop is different, right? So when I write this electromotive force, I will say negative E1. Are we together?
Yes.
Because I moved it from A to B is equal to. Then I come to the potential difference. What the current flowing here from A to B, it is I. What the resistance is R1. Is the directions choose means is the loop chosen in the same direction as current? The answer is yes. Right? So this one will be equal to what? I times what? R1. Okay? If my choice of the loop is vice versa, means that my loop, I say that B towards A. Right? B towards A. How about racer?
Positive.
Not positive. Yes, positive. But because I chose the same directions, which is the directions of driving current, right? So for this case, we say we have what? E1. Are we together?
Yeah.
Positive is equal to what? How about IR? Opposite. Why? Because this is the ratios of current. So it is what? Negative I times what? R1. And this equation is equal to this equation. I believe you have understood the seventh step. Otherwise, you have to go and watch this video several times as well as you can until these concepts build up in your mind. Because you need these steps before we solve problem. If the value of the assumed current comes to be negative, it means the actual directions of current is opposite to that assumed direction. If the actual value of current is negative, then if the actual directions of current comes to be negative, if the value of assumed current, no, this is not the actual, it's assumed current. We are showing the second step. So say if the value of assumed current if the value of assumed current becomes what? If the value of assumed current is negative, then the actual current is flowing in oppositely in opposite direction. So current is flowing in opposite direction to the assumed direction. This is the last step. Listen carefully. If the value of assumed current, we say that assumed currents are in most cases what? I1, I2, I3, or any other notation. Is what? Is negative. Then the actual current flowing, the actual current is flowing in opposite direction to the assumed direction. What does it mean? I want to use this simple sketch. Okay?
Yes.
When I have been solving this problem, I assume the current is flowing from A to B. I followed all the the 7 steps, and finally I found it I is equal to positive 2 ampere. If I find I it is positive 2 ampere, it means the directions which I assumed or proposed is correct. It is true that it's practical that current is flowing from point A. Are we together? If I find that the current flows through this part from A to B is, let's say it is what? Negative 2 ampere. This indicates that the actual directions of current is opposite to the assumed direction during the solve. So in this value, it means current is flowing from B to A, not from A to A. Are we together? Have you understood them? I would like to ask you all students to go through these steps and understand them, because in the next session, session 17, we'll be solving problem. And because I know that it's a little bit challenging, this is the good news, and it's a little bit tough. Your homework today will be reviewing all these 8 steps, reviewing first KVKC, KVL, and these 8 steps of solving complexity or problems of complexity circuits. That is the homework of today. So, my dear students, this is the end of session 16. We stated as Kirchoff'S laws. There's been a very interesting session. And if you didn't understand some of the parts, I ask you to watch this video several times as well as you can until this information has been written in your mind. I want to tell you, complex circuits or Kirchoff, it means complex circuits, are neither difficulty to solve, it means to deal with, nor simple to deal with. It depends how you translate yourself and what actions you use to take. That's the point that I want to let you know. So this is the end of session 16. I thank God who have been with me during the preparation of this session and even at the time of teaching. And I invite you to join me in the next session 17, where now we'll be focusing on problem solving by using the Kirchoff's laws. Before I end this session, in case you feel from your heart you want to offer our living God your feeling thanksgiving, don't hesitate to send your feeling thanksgiving through this telephone number 0759 745331. Again, in case you want to access the notes, class notes, or to access reference textbooks or scientific calculator, or you want to order any book or any material for advanced secondary students in science and mathematics, don't hesitate to send an SMS through to this number, and you can ship or you can send those books in any regions of the Republic of Tanzania. So, may God bless you, and right now I would like to have Omega prayer, just the thanksgiving prayer to our living God who is great and who is omnipotent. Our Father who is in heaven, we come before your presence. We say thank you for the grace that you have done to us in this session 16, which is titled as Kirchoff's laws. You taught us in a very simplified language. We give you all the glory because there is no God rather than you. Father, we thank you and we invite you to teach us again in the next session. Father, we come before your presence, Lord. We say thank you for your kingdom that has came at this place. Thank you for what you have taught your students for present and future generation. I ask you, Father, distribute and do marketings of these contents in order to transform the life of the millions of the present and future generation. My Father, I give you all the glory and honor, and I don't deserve to receive any glory or to be praised in this business because you are the one who have been doing. Myself, I've been your donkey, and they've been using me effectively. I give you all the glory and honor, and I thank you for all the online students that are watching this program right now, and I thank you also for the future students that you're going to give me. I thank you also for the life of these students and for the transforming their mindset and for exposing this great secret and mystery to them. In the name of Jesus Christ, Father, we pray for our nation, Tanzania. Father, bless the country of Tanzania and bless the people of Tanzania. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much. See you in the next session. This is Olenjolai, who loves you so much. Meet you there.